Love the dialogue. I love how coy she just tread the job of being a mortician. Or I guess a forensic person. But it's so cool. July 1st, 28th. It's still the same day. My god. Up on the ramp and down off the ramps. Above skywalks and under the tram lines. The buildings are progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters for the likes of Heyo Industries, Locquan, and Thesis Neath. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscrapers' shadows. That's crazy. Waterfall. Whalefall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the tide, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. That is a crazy line. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center of the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Serra. Answers I never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis, relationships, are typically trivial sections of, well, should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they'll let me talk to. History? Their efforts are performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation. Will, how do you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? Yeah, it's brooding pretty hard, kid. No. What did you ask? My father. I know you were friends, but what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media, and your online presence is non-significant. You're saying I don't have enough followers. Essentially, damn. Shot right in the heart. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had a talent. And he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, and cybernetics. That's a lot of shit. What classes did you share, then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Sure. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't. Despite being younger, guess he felt burnt. He'd come up to me after class to argue and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly, the belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in a bad shape for his tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tail of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have a poor time managing when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. Wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. Stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo? He already knew the content was as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open at the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that father stayed close to you after that. You stole and lied to him? I stole and lied for him? And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grade school, he published this paper. The Turing Solution, the Framework of Programming Adaptive Linguistics. I can't say the last word. One of his advisors came up with the title. David thought it was way too cocky, but still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversation went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problems was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. At the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night. And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. Referring to his own 1-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Dang straight, you always want quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with a supply chain designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money, hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment. They made him excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. Good dude. He's like, I'll put the down payment down, but sorry, I left the oven on, can't help you move. So is that enough detail for you throughout convinced that he and I were in fact friends? I am. But Nadonia, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private, understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Nadonia. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. Yeah, that's right. David's lawyer is here at 2:49 p.m. July 1st, 2086. Noble Electronics, Northeastern HQ. Sublobby A8. I've been here before. What's with the statues, bro? Sat right here in this lobby waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. Could have been some other floor. Could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like the interchangeable fractals to me. Folding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in scale of their hubris, they need to use non-exciting geometry when drawing up the blueprints. The greatest minds of each generation coming together just to find the most expensive way to shove their heads up their asses. Adonia, is something bothering you? Man, when she's in thought, she's just in it. Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently someone will be here shortly. But maybe if I pass the time by glaring around the place, I'll improve my mood. Watch. What else we got? Inspect. Examine. Anything else? Watch. So much energy, so many people, all so intent. You're kidding, it's Saturday. The place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? All the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week could... What could they all possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You can be very cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. But the guy over there just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. Just been jiggling the cursor. Inspect. So this is the only one room. This complex is so massive that it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves, like it's always been here. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? Probably because what they do to the ones that get them in. I'm kidding. Though I don't have a better explanation. So massive. This guy's tripping me out. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. Dude, that is insane. I got new evidence? Toxin screening. And the poison itself. Which this looks exactly like the thing that was on his board in his workshop, right? I'm not crazy. Biomonitor. Biomonitor is a general use term for wearable technology or implanted mods that monitor a provided feedback on an individual's vital signs. Command place among the affluent as an additional layer of security. Biome use the relatively rare among the middle class. Sociologists and consumers trend analysts point to the anxieties about the climate, population, and the stresses of modern life as to why adoption of biomonitors has met resistance with medium-wage earners. If one's health is already assumed to be poor, constant knowledge of its status might be considered uncomfortable. Biomonitors are also frequently employed by incarceration, probation, and workplace health initiative programs. Huh. Neat. But also, sabe. Yes. Save. I'll save here. Over this red blob. Okay, everything's still there. I was about to say, oh my god, my chat disappeared. Also, I haven't even paid attention to the actual sound. Hello. Okay. It's working. I can't believe I'm this far into the stream, and I just thought about checking that. That's crazy. Anyway. I am streaming, ain't I? You're gonna say this is me making sure I'm streaming. Checking my shit, just make sure it's all there. Okay. Whoop. Okay. That's good. Everything's good. It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now. Will they they'll burn you for heresy against the company? You said it again. The company, as if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that? Is it just a part of the corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is, one of the biggest there's ever been. We're merely humans, can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, the logo's above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable, at its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. Dang. Whoever comes to greet us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? That's me. Hey there, Android Manufacturing Quality Control Eastern Division. Dawes. Even Dawes. Or Evan Dawes. My bad, Evan. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes, he says. Like it's an afterthought. It's a name compared to your place in the hierarchy. You seem familiar. Have you? I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must have... Apologies. Let me first say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome. But it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today. But what else is new? And compared to PR or legal right now, our workload is QAR. Never mind, how can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, David Asher began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, he was unable to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying, reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. The part is clearly printed, so no visible defects. But you're right, it doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Well, they sent you the right man for the job. Now we just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building. That can mean anything from down the hall to half a day's. Production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters? B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size, then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests. Smart. So long as you're only giving tours and not giving away company secrets. No need to worry about that. We take intelligence security very seriously around here. No kidding. There was 11 cameras on us at the moment that I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our way. Clearly nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing about it. So if they're trying to claim ignorance about anything, it's gonna piss me off. Yeah, she's snapping! She's snapping! Lead the way. Finally! Ugh. I'll be back. I gotta get some tea. Boop. I guess this would have been the time to use my be right back screen, but I did not do that. So, if any people bounced in and out while I was gone, didn't notice. Noble Electronics Northeastern HQ. Basement floor, 9. Really is fully furnished down here. Oh my gosh. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know. Would you mind terribly if I look around for a moment? No problem. I've got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. I'd better take full advantage. I need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out where Serra came from and why David wanted me to take custody. I'm gonna look around. You stay put in the meantime. Adonia? We want to lose you among the rest of the merchandise. The jokes. I didn't even mean to click anything. Inhaler left out on the desk properly. Half dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. Dawes, the inhalers? They're distributed by the company, correct? Yeah. HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription and update the base on performance and job fulfillment reviews. Other corporations do it in the same way. Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you, who knows how much, in lost efficiency. Sorry this is insensitive, but given what happened to David, are overdoses common in the company? Yeah. Yeah, he says. Oh, overdoses? That is not hospitalizations or deaths. It's only pretty organized these days. These days? Man, back when I started in consulting, pretty much everyone had an embarrassing story from the first 2 years where they popped a few too many greens and missed the ramp up and missed the on-ramp. Popped greens? Yeah, used to be pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there, swallow a red after brushing your teeth and getting your bunk fast. But yeah, the inhalers are a huge improvement, like going from torches to light bulbs. They sync straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down. That's great to hear! The trainees under me don't even realize how good they got it. Kids probably don't even have to learn how to purge. Yeah, I know, right? New word. Profiles. Dawes. Ooh! Dawes. Date of birth, August 1st. Interesting time to be born. Height, 189 centimeters. Pretty tall. Weight, 78 kilograms, but not very heavy. He looks he's very concerned. Blood type, A negative. Occupation, Chief Supervisor, Android Manufacturing Quality Control. Likes hammocks, calligraphy, and pale ale. Dislikes first dates, fill that. Conference calls, fill that as well. 5 o'clock shadow, why? So nice. Proud of his practiced handshake, man, as a corporate man for sure. Struggles with solving captchas and hair starting to gray. Is it? It doesn't look like it. Purge. Oh, wrong. Purge. The act of emptying one's stomach contents by inducing vomit, triggering the gag reflex, or using laxatives to simulate a bowel movement. There are a lot of people that do that in real life. Alright, so I accidentally clicked the inhaler. Oh, there's a lot. There's inspect, read. There's not even the advance. Read. We got on this data pad some kind of write-up. On the subject of Sullivan's Peak. Much of our world today, and in fact, much of our world's economy, is heavily influenced by the uncanny valley. The thought experiment provides a simple and easy applied explanation for the gaps where we see in the otherwise wide spectrum of automated dependence that assist us in nearly every industry on the planet. The very simple primal truth to it: we like things that resemble the living, like cartoons and puppets and toys. We like things that are damn near indistinguishable from the living, like whatever name Noble's latest products are being sold under. But there are deep, deep trenches between those two ends, where products are universally enabling to human sensibility. Go down, not up. The uncanny valley will no doubt remain a useful tool for teaching marketing and design for generations to come, but already we are seeing ways in which it fails. It is becoming increasingly clear to us that the space between nearly indistinguishable or truly indistinguishable is much wider than we ever suspected. And it may not be the only part of the map that we must fear. I propose we bridge these gaps in knowledge by looking into the speculative fictions of Robert J. Sullivan, who is the most well-known work, Equal Under One Sky, described as a concept which thereafter has been called Sullivan's Peak. Though the lens of his characters and their very divided world, Sullivan demonstrated that the uncanny valley does in fact have its own peak on the other side, a point past which making an artificial existence of any more human in its features serves only to make the user experience more uncomfortable, more difficult, and more fraught with moral pitfalls. Once you reach Sullivan's Peak, traveling any further only has diminished returns. The implications of this idea are far-reaching, which will very soon reach a point at which the designers or ads can only make their creations less lifelike as less likable, or hard stopping points for technological progress. What then? We must ask. And I will not read that because I am out of breath. Surprised to find reading material like this around here. Were they passing it around as a gag, or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be wary of it. Dismissive of it. Sullivan's Peak. Someone's wary of it. They wouldn't keep it around otherwise. No? Really? Oh, there it is. I got extra. Noble's entire production line. Maybe their entire industrial could go bottoms up if people start thinking it's cruel. If Serra is any indication of where the androids are headed, I could see some people getting uncomfortable. Inspect, and watch. Check. Let's inspect. Feels like I've seen this before. That's right. There's one of these in David's lab. Yep. It's a 3D printer. That's the nanograde elementary manufacturer for short. Really high quality piece of machinery, each of them built in-house by Randock Mechanics. What does it do? Nano level flash fab. Basically a 3D printer for nano machines. You build nanomachines in your factories for use in your androids? Raw materials are cheap, literally elementary, so no sense in getting them shipped in. It's mostly just medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into a patient's bloodstream or run diagnostics and provide a solution. 3D printer for nanomachines, so what kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. They feed into the nanoprint and it's assembled wait. Isn't that the makeup of the thing that killed him, right? Like a ribsome building structurally complex proteins out of a chemically simple nucleic acid. Must be time consuming. You would think, but Randox cracked the code on parallel microfracturing. It's inside crystalline, sprawling like an ant's nest. Raw materials enter at one of the thousands of different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. The finished product ends up at the center and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled nectar swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. Nectar, it's sticky? It can be depending on the desired output, but the door vacuums seal while it's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill-proof. What a relief. Not exactly a box of paper clips David could just have brought home from the office one day. Must have bought his own for some reason. Right. Has the same one at home. It was to make the android. He must have bought his own for some reason. To make the android! There's something out there that caught my eye when we came in. A very familiar shade of crimson. If I squint through the glass out on the floor, there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. Through glass and plastic flows, then eye-catching scarlet that transitions into. So you add the blood towards the end? You mean the oxidant? Yeah, relatively late in the process. Something out of place. Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red, it's pink. Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. Just didn't know the oxidant would be red. Oh, right, sorry, I barely noticed it at this point. The colors naturally comes from the biomanufacturing process. The chromofuge out there removes the byproduct, the waste, that excess pigment, changing it from blood red to psycho pop pink. Without the chromofuge, terms, flash fab, a method of manufacturing artificial microscopic compounds that utilize parallel nesting to assemble billions of simple structures in the minutes, even seconds. Nanomachines have been around for the better part of a century, but the time and resources required for them to construct through traditional means was historically prohibitively expensive, limiting exploration of an investment into nanotech. In the years since flash fabrication introduction, use of the demand for nanomachines has exploded, and scientists, doctors, and product designers have found brand new niches for them across every industry. Concerns about the ecological impact of the surge in nanomachine construction has been raised through the official stance of the Nanolife Industrial Lobbying Group and has remained unwavering. Nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Yeah, by itself, but you make fucking 10 million of them. Chromofuge, organic fluid used in the production of warm androids, removes byproduct impurities and pigment from android blood, thereby changing the color from red to pink. Interesting. Without the chroma fuse, our android's flesh would come out looking the wrong color. That may be true. It probably isn't, but it may be. But I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal. The sight of it carries weight. They change the color of their product's blood so that even an android gets a bottle broken against its face. No one bats an eye. That sounds about right. I'm not advancing. There's still more to look at. There's a watch, and then there's... Let's check this. Share some components with that coffin Serra was napping in. If Dawes does quality assurance, it's some kind of android calibration device. Probably what he used to register Serra. Looks a little like a little... Is Serra tall enough for it to recognize her? Yeah, she'd like come up to like here on this, wouldn't she? Anything new from that? No. Just some chips. What's being built out there? Our top of the line, brand new bestsellers, the Animate 16 Warm. Looks kinda cold out there. We keep the factory floor refrigerated. Slows the organics already tuned metabiological activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Slowly. I just meant I'm surprised to see metal. Well, all the A16s have alloy exoskeletons that organics are later are layered on later in the process. Sounds like what Serra told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16's prototype. But it's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I get that you can grow just about anything from Gemini. Lax Gemini. But how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that was our first concern about the R&D, when R&D began work on the warm concept. The 1.0 were real skin with synthetic... Oh, 1.0... The 1.0s were real skin with synthetic muscle, and it was a horror show. Metal pulling at skin was just right. For 2.0, they worked backwards: organic muscle, organic skin. But digital signals on organic hardware was a dead end. Didn't the muscle flex when you passed an electric current through it then? They'd flex and unflex, sure, but that's not nearly precise enough for factual expressions. It looked like a puppet strung up on live wire. We used the test footage to haze interns, actually. You must have figured something out. The A16s wouldn't look out of place on the runway. Thank you. We try. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, we actually just bought out half a dozen of them, but right. They figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago. So we just needed to get a mechanical nervous system to move. Living limbs. Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human. High precision mods are slotted straight into the nervous system. They receive their input from Neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity. Interesting. So you had to do the opposite. Exactly, we created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh. Where did the breakthrough come from? David is sure. Partly, he led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carry commands from the central nervous OS to individual muscles across the chassis. But the the synthetic analog serotonin, that was actually an old brainchild from the VP of Android Futures, Helen Jung. Hasn't David mentioned a Dr. Jung before? Sounds impressive. She's one hell of a biochemist. Or she was, I guess. Not much time for individual lab work when you get to her kind of pay grade. So Jung collaborated with David on the technology that enabled warm bodies. As I thought. Whatever went into Serra that makes the android so distinct, he couldn't have taken sole credit for it. Jung, did he partner with her on this? All done. You ready to get your android, your ad handled? Thanks for humoring me. Can you have it step into the scanner? As he said. Understood. Right. What are we looking at here? Whoa. There's a lot to unpack here. We theorized that this may have been Assure's pincushion? A pincushion, huh? That would explain some of what I'm reading here. What language is that on the screen? Tesseract, all noble products, and, well, pretty much all products period and programmed in Tesseract. Tesseract 4.6, better known as the TESS, is the latest version of the Tesseract programming language, built on top of the Tenet system and utilized in the industry around the globe to code the software and allow Android, robotic holograms, and more to react to their environment intelligently and with intention. For the start of the century, there was a much greater variety in the number of programming languages, viability with which to code, globalization, and the standardization of the industry procedures, and the gradual reassure of many spoken tongue contributed to the loss of the countless programming languages during the mid-21st century. Today, TESS is a virtual, unchanged as the global lingua franca programming language. I cannot read that. The study and the teaching of others, older programming languages, is mostly done for recreation, hobby, or digital archaeology. God, I need to learn how to speak my own language. Easy to read and write. Stay compliant. Now that this mod, what's it going by? Serra. This Serra model, it's got everything the 16 line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing, and emoting. But there's a lot crammed in here that's still in development. Like in the idea phase. Solar cell hair strands, decentralized redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerance, data storage so large I can't know. Whoa, he had to measure it using hell of a poker face. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking, that's hacking? Essentially. Does that mean it's been hacked? It can hack its own tenants? Oh no, that's unthinkable. Literally for an ad. Tenants Super System, a program framework underlining the development of an ordered modern automated dependent software. All contemporary supported programming languages are built upon the tenant system, allowing users to designate a series of invaluable properties for their code to pursue. Once added to the program, a tenant cannot be circumvented under any traditional circumstances, and even then only if a tenant with a higher weight supersedes it. Tenants were first adopted in the field of computer science as a trio of three properties that govern how preserving human life, obeying human commands, and avoiding damage to human property should be prioritized. Since then, the number of supportive tenants have ballooned to 113, most of them requested by lobbyists in the insurance industry looking to better define relative financial value, of course. Tenants are welcome in. Tenants are well known for increasing the decision time lag for programs. This, combined with their engineered inflexibility, has made such the most programmers aim for a tenant limit below 30. Originally, the one tenant that could not be removed from any program was TNT Safety Zero, aka Tenant Zero or Tenant 1. Said tenant dictated that the following program could not produce outcomes that would result in harm to a living person. After that decision reached the people versus Volstance Defense Contractors and the resolution widespread adoption of a automated dependent in the military security sectors, this is no longer required, though Tenant Zero may still be added to practically begging or mundane software as a good luck charm, superstitious ritual. What's up? It's going alright. Everything. Hi, Mindo. Have you been to one of my streams before? I don't think so. Oh, first time chat. Okay. How are you doing? Or joke. Huh. That's literally unthinkable for an ad. No. I like your PNG, but I think I might be from a cartoon or something, but overall it's super cute. Can I ask where you got it from? Oh, I didn't get this from anywhere. I drew this thing on MS Paint. And cute isn't the word I'd use to describe it, but thank you anyway. For an ad to break its tenant would be like you stepping into traffic or dropping a baby. Damn. Even if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you never choose to do. Well, I don't have, two reasons I don't do that. I don't know how to rig. I cannot afford to pay somebody to rig, and I also don't have a camera to do the motion capture stuff, so it's kind of just a PNG that opened and closed his mouth and hopped up and down when I talk. Some people do walk into traffic. Psychologists, addicts, the mentally ill, does that mean that there are androids? Well, that's cool. How about I assist you? I think it would be a great fit since I'm a VTuber with a 4 to 5 years of experience in this field. Would you like me to share my portfolio with you? Oh, no thanks. It's appreciated that you offered that, though. Guess my analogy doesn't hold up. That's okay. So it can be so it can't hack itself, but it was given the ability to hack other systems. The industry line is that such a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios. Breaking through its firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast it directly to a police or military channel. Thanks for stopping by the stream, by the way. Hey, Gibbs. Speaking of military, this Musculoskeleton setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model. Can you lift a car or something, Serra? Most cars, it would depend on the center of gravity. Lady, this Serra could wrestle a public distribution disturbance walker and come out on top. Those stomping behemoths they bring out for riot suppression? And in terms of compilation ability, the estimated says that can't be right. Look, Dawes, I was actually hoping you could tell me something about the software or the metadata? Who worked on it and when? Oh, right, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. The editing logs have been purged. That doesn't sound very above the board. Sorry, I can't tell you anything about who worked on Serra or when. Any chance you can restore those logs? Not here, not in this machine. I'd need the computer that were actually used for programming this model. Any ideas where those would be? Serra? I can't answer that question with any accuracy. Can't answer that question with any accuracy. I had a feeling you might say that. Ads, right? Sorry, I can tell you that the code is unique. There's hints of the A16 in there, a few of the same conclusions. It's just Dr. Serra, whoever took very different paths to get there. So Serra has even less in common with every other android on the inside. Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end here. Not at all. You've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done? Yeah, no problem. We've got the software and forms all set up here. Occasionally we let a new business partner bring one home fresh from the oven, you know. Oven. Gross. Alrighty, a few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit? She is. As it says, unless the will disagrees, it's my responsibility. Right, then. You fine with the designation Serra? We can set it to anything you like. Well, actually, never mind. Serra will do fine. Okay, this part is all standard. Civilian models, address, contact info I can get from your crumbs. Do you want to request the reset to factory default? Could clear up all quirks. Not right now. She's like, nah, I'll keep her personality. Also, that's like the fourth person that's came into my chat and tried to freaking, what is it? They gave me a sales pitch and then dipped right after I said no. I'm reading 23 tenants here. Nothing too far out of the ordinary. 23, that's higher than I expected. Talking with it. Seems more malleable than that. Don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearance has become crapshoot. Not like it used to be. They only had 3 tenants total, and every unit had to have them. Then came the first accidents, and then the first lawsuits, and then the hearings, and the legislature, and the demand for more tenants. Tenant making sure adds anything new. No. Sure ads couldn't endanger the state. And tenants stating that ads wouldn't divulge private information without prior consent. There was a campaign calling for the tenants to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessment. There's a campaign calling for tenants to do the opposite. Companies wanted their assets covered. Customers wanted guarantees. There was never much incentive to deny a request. Tenant. So the list just ballooned. Until the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. They need their ads to be able to pull the trigger when ordered to. Without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated hard code decision points to get there, I get that. But since the armies are the only ones using tech with bare minimum tenants, all the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. It's not very romantic. Well, not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. Supreme Court sided with the military's request and set a new precedent that every other army around the world would race to meet. Changing tenets from a mandated list of the root every ad's source code to choose your own checklist. It's funny, ads with the most tenants, they're so locked up you can't even have a conversation with them. And outside the armed forces, the only ads with single-digit tenants count as just vacuuming floors. Most impressive ones like what you got here. Sorry, chewing guys. Fall somewhere in the middle. Sorry, went on a tangent there. Only thing left is the evaluation. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth for insurance purposes. Yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error. They insist with no sense of irony. Wow. I mean, I knew it was a custom, but what price could they have possibly? That's a lot of digits. You should know these formula are pretty conservative with their estimates. Stingy, even. If Serra's really David's last and greatest work, they say some things are priceless, but when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number, holy shit, evidence.